Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. Enjoy personalized comfort for better sleep night after night. And now, max out your savings. The more you buy, the more you save on beds, bases, and more. Plus, get free home delivery on any smart bed with base. Limited time. Check it out at a Sleep Number store near you or at sleepnumber.com today.
AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's rock!
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Muso. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there, make it a good one. It's a one-topic day. Open the show talking about my reaction to Brian Kelly being fired, how it all played out. Spent a lot of last hour talking about the buyout details, where LSU goes from here with that. But there's tons of different angles here to discuss, including who might be next. And there's a couple of SEC coaches on the docket. Good time to bring aboard Peter Burns of the SEC Network.
This week in the SEC with Peter Burns.
Unsportsmanlike conduct.
Let's separate the contenders from the pretenders.
Number 11 of the defense. Throwing the LSU player's shoe 20 yards down the field.
With Peter Burns of the SEC Network. Presented by Blue Delta Jeans.
Yo, man, how are you?
You ever feel like, and actually, I don't know, you probably haven't felt that, but like you've been just in a relationship and all of a sudden it ends and it feels a little freeing and you kind of almost feel guilty for how the freedom that you have. That's how I feel right this very moment.
Okay. Let me get a reaction, PB, when you first saw the news that Kelly was being fired.
Surprised, but not surprised. I mean, obviously we saw the hammer come down for James Franklin, so you knew that, all right, well, if it can happen at that point for 65 or however many millions it was for Franklin, it could happen here. And I think the not surprising aspect of it was looking at Tiger Stadium on Saturday night. I mean, I don't ever recall seeing that stadium look that way, where a rival comes out there and takes over your spot in the way that they, basically shoved you in a locker for that second half. And I wouldn't say that there was a quit, but it's one thing when your team's not winning games. But I said this on my show, and I said it all week long. Even the wins under BK never even felt that much fun. Bama against, Bama that first year, Jaden Daniels hit the 2-point conversion. That was fun. But outside of that, even the wins were just kind of okay. It felt different.
Yeah, the ranked wins were few and far between. 5 and 11 against ranked teams is the number a lot of people throwing out today. You cover the league. Is LSU the best job available?
Well, without a doubt. I mean, you can go, if you can say that 3 different coaches have won national championships there, yes, there's no doubt. The fan base is unparalleled. The brand is great. You've got all of the recruiting, all of it. It's better than Arkansas and it's better than Florida. I don't think that there's a doubt right now.
What about if you throw Penn State into the mix?
Doesn't matter. It's still LSU. LSU is a crown jewel. I would put it right up there with any, I think it's top 3 of any program or any job that's out there right now.
What would be the other 2?
I mean, all joking aside, the brand of Texas is such a huge brand and has so much money behind it. And the fact that they haven't had a lot of success as of late as far as winning national championships, that's something that is up there. Ohio State's probably on that list. And I'd probably put LSU coming in at one of those three, depending on what stirs your drink.
Okay. Ahead of Georgia?
I mean, it's tough for me to even look at Georgia in the fact of I'm like Kirby is so locked in there that I don't even think of Georgia in those terms at any point.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like he's not going to the NFL. He'll die there. I mean, like he'll build statues of him. And I think that's the intriguing part of what everybody wants to talk about Lane is that, yeah, I mean, is LSU a better job than Ole Miss? I firmly believe it. But at the same point is like let me ask you this question. If Lane somehow, let's live in a world and Lane Kiffin comes to Baton Rouge and wins a title, just one, is he the greatest coach in LSU history? Is he the second greatest coach? I mean, you can argue if the next coach comes in here and he wins just one, not multiple, but one national championship, he might still be the third most beloved head coach behind probably Ed Orgeron for what he brought in 2019 and Nick Saban for starting it all.
Yeah. Peter Burns is with us. I don't know Lane Kiffin. I've never had an interaction more than just asking him questions in a press conference setting, a casual hello. I don't know him at all. You've had way more interactions. Do you believe that he would leave? Just your opinion. I'm not pegging you against the wall in this or anything. Do you believe he would leave Ole Miss?
I think he would. I mean, and again, I'm not saying that he will. I think that there is a conversation. I think the conversation with Florida is more is this necessarily that much better of a job than what I'm already building here, right? And I don't know if you can definitively say that. With LSU, that's a different echelon of job, I believe. And so I think, there's much more of a serious chance of Lane being to do that. But then again, is there such thing as a surefire hire? I mean, I would have thought Scott Frost at Nebraska, I would have put my life earnings that would have worked out. And it didn't. And I don't know if there's something that you're going to go leverage your future on, hoping that that's the guy that brings it there.
It's interesting that you went Scott Frost to Nebraska. I just think Nebraska has so many variables working against it. But I don't want to belabor the point. I understand what you're saying, that there is no such thing as a sure thing. Would Lane Kiffin to LSU be your number one choice?
I mean, I think no. I mean, my first call is, if we have a president of the United States that was 78 and the last one was like 87, I'm calling Nick Saban and making him tell him no. But, other than that, Lane would be number one. Dan Lanning would be number two, but I don't think he wants to get rid of, the Nike money and the Oregon stuff out there. Those are probably my top two. And outside of that, then I think you completely rethink what you want. And what I need as an LSU fan, not as a media member, but what I need is somebody that wakes up pissed off thinking that somebody caught up with LSU football today. Because I know Kirby thinks that way. Mm-hmm. I feel like Dan Lanning thinks that way. I think Ryan Day over at Ohio State felt that way. And I don't know if I felt that at the end or if ever under Brian Kelly. And I need that. If I'm going to spend my hard-ass money to go to an LSU game and to sacrifice and give everything and the NIL and all of this stuff, I need somebody that cares as much as I do. And I think that was the disconnect that led to the demise over there with BK.
He's on Twitter at Peter Burns, ESPN. Give him a follow. Our chats every Monday are brought to you by Blue Delta Jeans. You can look him up online at bluedeltajeans.com. An interesting name that has been brought up a bunch here. Like there's the ones you just mentioned, right? The pipe dream of Saban, or then Kiffin, Lanning, whatever. But that next tier that I keep getting mentioned, PB, there's Jed Fish, there's Dan Mullen, and there's Eli Drinkwitz. What do you think about Drink?
I think that if you paired him with Blake Baker, I think that is as good of a 1-2 punch as you can find right here, right now. Because I know Blake loved Drink. I think, and albeit outside of that game, I think Blake's done a great job of that defense. And I don't want to keep him here in Baton Rouge. I was told by people that knew Drink that said, man, if Drink ever got something as far as one of these perennial top, quote unquote 10 or top 5 jobs, that you'd be surprised that Drink would absolutely crush it. And I think that if you can do that over the years in Como, especially now that he's given up the play calling duties, Kirby Moore, but that's a hell of a dynamic trio that you could look at if he wanted to be a part of it as well.
Peter Burns, SEC Network, good enough to hang out with us here. What else do you think is part of this conversation that is the thing we should all be talking about? Be it Kelly fired, all the dynamics of it, or who's next, and anything.
I mean, listen, the wild card of here is Jeff Landry getting involved, the governor. And listen, we all know, politics has always been a part of LSU and athletics and whatnot. But I feel like that's more of a wild card than ever before. And I feel like there's a little bit of the Jeff Landry, showmanship of Huey P. Long that wants to get involved. And then all of a sudden, if you're selecting the entire board and you got a brand new president there, you can kind of go any direction you want. And that's the only reason why I worry about it, because I look at what happened with the Mac Brown or in the North Carolina situation, where they went over and beyond Bubba Cunningham, the athletic director, and they got a bunch of people that didn't really know football, and they're like, what would be really cool? Getting Bill Belichick here, that would be awesome. Well, that's a disaster. And you can't do that with a brand like LSU. And I sure as hell hope but that doesn't happen.
Peter Burns, boy, it sure feels like he's wielding his influence in certain ways. It is going to be a fascinating next month or so around here, 4 to 6 weeks. We always appreciate it, man. We'll visit again next week when we're starting to get ready for LSU Alabama.
Hey, by the way, can you imagine if you had to host radio in a boring sports town?
No.
I mean, we get the best of all worlds. We talk about the chaos that is LSU football, national championships with Jay Johnson and Mulkey and Jay Clark and McMahon. I mean, you got the best damn beat out there. Congratulations.
PB, I've never, I don't mention this often, but I've had opportunities to leave here for big markets. And what? Why would I leave? That's what I ask. I'm like, what am I going to talk about? Like go to Atlanta and talk about the Hawks? No, I'm good. Thanks.
No,
I'm good.
It's you got to be passionate. And again, I think that was a disconnect. I always felt like Brian Kelly loved the idea of being the coach at LSU, but I don't think he woke up every single morning going, holy hell, what am I doing to make LSU better? And I think you wake up going, how the hell am I going to talk to my LSU fans about this? And I think you've got to have passion for it. And again, I don't think LSU, last thing on this thing, I don't think LSU is built for a made man, a guy that's already created his legacy. I think it's more about how are you going to create your legacy with all of these weapons and all of this real estate in front of you. And that's what LSU needs to be after next.
Always appreciate it, man. Thank you for the time.
God, they almost hired you in Atlanta. God, they must have been desperate. Love you. Bye.
See ya. I didn't say Atlanta. I just hypothetically threw out the Hawks. I could have been talking about the St. Joe's. Isn't St. Joe's the Hawks? St. John? St. John or St. Joe's? One of those is the Hawks. St. John's the Red Storm.
That's what I was going to say.
St. Joe's in Philly are the Hawks.
Okay.
Could have been Philly. Maybe it was Philly.
Philly?
No, we'll see. All right, it's after further review. We're glad you're with us. We're brought to you by Parish Restoration, parishrestoration.com, parishrestoration.com. Kill mold, remove odor. Hey, a ton of rain this weekend. If you finally got water intrusion, mold, musty smell, mildew, call Parish Restoration. They'll knock out the mold, the odor. Maybe there's a sickness going through your home, your office building, a little virus going through. You want to knock that out? Let Parish Restoration come in, spray their patented non-toxic dry fog. Go to parishrestoration.com, parishrestoration.com. Go to the website, fill out the form on the homepage, and get your free estimate today, parishrestoration.com. All right, y'all, it's After Further Review, Monday edition, brought to you by Relief Windows and reliefwindows.com. We'll knock out a quick break, come back. Everyone has asked who is next, so we'll run through the list, the pros and cons. Bottom of this hour, I do want to talk about Scott Woodward, his future at LSU, all the stuff therein. So a ton to do, and we will at some point as well get to the Joe Sloan reaction and where LSU goes from here without Joe Sloan as the OC and Alex Atkins replacing him. Just a ton to do. Buckle up and stay here on AFR.
AFR.
You want lightning fast internet speeds? Who doesn't? Rev can make it happen. 5 gigs. Are you kidding me? Let'sRev.com, R-E-V, Let'sRev.com. I mean, you get 90 years of local service, lightning fast speeds. Again, local people who are there to be responsive to you, not some answering service 500 miles away. It's Rev for your home or for your business, and it's backed by the certainty of an all-fiber network. I told you a couple of weeks ago they were digging, they were trenching in my yard, and I was thrilled that they were because they were laying fiber in my neighborhood. So if it's at your home or your office building, you want that all-fiber, lightning-fast network, you want Rev. So go to letsrev.com. Switch today, y'all. R-E-V. Letsrev.com. Letsrev.com. Go give my folks at Rev a shout. Letsrev.com.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and oh, we do shutters too.
Well, they enter the most robust carousel likely in the history of college football. And they also entered direct competition with Florida for the top end of the coaching market in the southeast quadrant of the country. The first name on the lips of power brokers at both schools, obviously, is Lane Kiffin. If not, names like Jeff Brom at Louisville, Eli Drinkwitz at Missouri, and John Summerall down the road at Tulane are going to be in the forefront of this search for LSU.
That is Pete Thamel on SportsCenter talking about laying out what's next for LSU. Of course, LSU's fired Brian Kelly, so now the search begins for his replacement. And obviously, the most important question that you have to answer is, are you willing to spend $100 million on your next coach? Before we have any conversation about who is next, I mean, we're going to have the conversation. But before we have any realistic conversation, we have to know two things. Number one, who is making this hire? And number two, it's a very key part of this, which is, are you willing to spend $100 million on whoever is next? Because make no mistake, if today you're dreaming about Lane Kiffin, if today you're dreaming about Dan Lanning, then you are starting with a $100 million contract. There's no way around that. I don't care how you structure it, you're going to pay that person 9 figures and you're going to guarantee it. So the question is that the pool that you want to be fishing in? And maybe the answer is yes. Maybe the answer is yes. I also don't know who is going to be making this hire. My preference, if I could have a pie in the sky, I'm assuming Nick Saban's not going to coach again. But if I had a pie in the sky dream scenario, my preference would be Dan Lanning. That would be my choice. I think he checks all the boxes of what I would be looking for with Dan Lanning. I understand that just this past March, he got a new 6-year deal with Oregon. I understand he turned down Alabama. I'm not telling you he would take the job. But in his time as the coach at Oregon, he is 42-7. And I love the fact that he was a GA at Bama under Nick, and he coached with Kirby from 2018 to 2021. He is rooted in their culture. I love that. And you have a young guy at 39 years old who is made for this era of college football. He's in his 4th season at Oregon, so it's a small sample size, but he has built his program at Oregon. 10-3, 12-2, 13-1, and right now they're 7-1. Their home loss to Indiana, the only blemish this year. So I look at a guy who is from Missouri, but has coached all over the South, has coached under Nick and Kirby, is young, and has had success in a power conference and understands this era. That would be my number one choice ahead of Lane Kiffin. And I will tell you that I understand the risk associated with going and giving someone a $100 million deal. I understand because you just lived it. But if you're LSU, you ask yourself the question, can you afford to miss again? And I would say no. My feeling has always been when it comes to LSU hiring coaches, like you're LSU. I mean, we just had Peter Burns of the SEC Network on with us. Said he put LSU as a top 3 job in the country. Top 3, top 5, top 10, whatever you want to call it. It's in that echelon. You have a lot to offer. So the thing that's the biggest concern for me, if you went after an established veteran coach, is what happened with Nick and Brian Kelly and Dabo Swinney and Mike Gundy and these coaches from a different era that don't love this era. They got into this profession to recruit high school talent, develop guys, build culture over years. They didn't get in it to see players paid and NIL and portal and leaving. It's completely different. And handing over authority to a GM to help build a roster is different. And I respect that. I respect very much the people who came in a different era, don't love this, they get out. Okay, I respect that. So I'd rather someone who accepts that and embraces that and can maximize that. Well, Dan Lanning's shown he can do it. So you're blending the best of what I think is both worlds. That would be my choice. Dan Lanning would be my choice. I have no idea if you have an ice cube's chance in hell of getting Dan Lanning out of Oregon. No idea. He's got Phil Knight Nike money. He's got a blank checkbook, with an open checkbook, whatever he wants to spend, he's got it. Phil Knight reportedly has said that. All that stuff. What I will say also is it ain't easy to recruit to Oregon. I understand they got the flashy uniforms, they got Nike money and all that stuff, but there's a lot of people who hop on a plane from the South and don't like flying 4 hours to get to Eugene. Flying to Portland, drive up, whatever it is. You know what I mean? There's a physical regional barrier that he has to cross. Look, Deuce Gerald's the guy currently committed to LSU. It was LSU Oregon. The thing that swung Gerald's to LSU when all else was equal was the fact that his family's from here, he's got family that lives here, family's in Atlanta. I mean, it's far and expensive to fly your ass to Oregon every weekend and watch a football game. I get it. That'd be my choice. But I think the other thing to consider is if you don't go, listen, maybe they end up getting past that and it's someone among the Eli Drinkwitz, Jed Fish, who's a Florida guy who's coaching at Washington, Dan Mullen, who I think Dan Mullen would be a really strong choice. Dan Mullen can coach football. He is a really good offensive mind, brilliant game caller, schemer, all that stuff. Dan Mullen hated to recruit. Guess what? You don't have to recruit in this era. Not like you did. You recruit with a checkbook. I think Dan Mullen is perfect for this era, that he wasn't perfect for the previous era. If you get past that list, I know some people have mentioned John Sumrall at Tulane. Listen, I think John Sumrall has done an awesome job. But you know the but that's going to follow. The same reason 4 years ago, nobody was interested in Napier because you can't hire the coach from UL Lafayette. You're going to have people in this state, right or wrong, you're going to have people in this state who say you can't hire the coach from Tulane. Okay. I ain't making the decision. I think you do limit yourself from hiring potentially an awesome coach who I think has done an amazing job as an X&O guy, a culture guy, did it at Troy, now doing it at Tulane. He inherited a good situation from Willie Fritz, no doubt, but he's built upon it. I think if you're going to go that route, Sumrall would be a great hire. I also know the culture around LSU, and there's a lot of people who are going to say, you're not hiring the coach from Tulane. It'll be a hard no just because of that, which is short-sighted, but I think that's the reality for some people. I'm going to tell you the other thing to consider is if you decide you're not going to do the $100 million contract, and you're going to try to go a different route. I think it has to be something that's built around how the current state of college football is structured, and that is an NFL model. You have a general manager now in place who, by and large, is moving the pieces on the chessboard financially to determine who you're spending, what you're spending on who, how, and where. Yes, the head coach will have autonomy to make decisions on certain players and all this. That'll always be the case. But it is different now. And having someone with an NFL background matters. Because you can come into a situation where you recognize there's a GM in place, in this case, Austin Thomas at LSU, who's going to have a lot of authority and autonomy when it comes to building the roster and maintaining the roster and the money and all that sort of stuff. And the coach can go coach. You do your job, I'll do my job. And the two names with ties to LSU that would be interesting are Joe Brady and Kelvin Shepherd. Hear me out. Now, I would not have been interested in Joe Brady 4 years ago, to be abundantly clear. I think Joe Brady gets way too much credit. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve any. I'm saying he gets way too much credit for 2019. Steve Ensminger was the OC. He ran the offense. He called the plays. Brady brought some concepts in, undeniably, that were valuable, and Brady worked with the receivers. I probably could have worked with Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson and done okay. They're awesome. But I think he deserves some credit. I think he's gotten too much credit over the years. I'm not surprised he failed in the first go-round at Carolina, but he's done an amazing job in Buffalo. It helps when you have the MVP as your quarterback in Josh Allen, but the way Brady unlocked that Buffalo offense was with the running game. As a guy with a passing background, it's the running game in Buffalo that's been the unlock. That versatility showed a lot of growth, and I think it's been awesome. Now, Joe Brady might be in line to be a head coach, but what I'll tell you is, in making some phone calls today, this is one of those that you could make work financially a lot of different ways. Joe Brady, I was told today, makes $1.8 million. You could pay Joe Brady $5 million base on an incentive-laden deal that might be interesting enough to get him here. Maybe, maybe not. Kelvin Shepherd, who played at LSU, DC right now with Detroit, with the Lions, culture with Dan Campbell there. You could do a similar deal. Or what if you hired them both? What if you hired Joe Brady as your head coach and Kelvin Shepherd for $2.5, which you're paying Blake Baker right now, as your DC, and you get them both? And you could structure things with an incentive-laden deal. By the way, Jeff Brom at Louisville right now signed an incentive-laden deal with the Cardinals. It can be done. There are, if you've ever looked at an NFL contract, there are provisions in certain contracts, like bonuses that are, the acronym would be like LTBE, likely to be earned bonuses, like will Cam Jordan be on the active roster? Well, of course he is. That's going to unlock a bonus. That's in addition to your base and how it's structured. And then there's NLTB, not likely to be earned bonuses, which if you hit these incentives and bonuses, boom, there's another $1 million, whatever it may be. The point is, if college football structurally is looking more and more like the NFL, then you need to start building contracts like the NFL does for your coaches, for your players, all the way around, so you can manage this fiscally in a smart way. My preference is, let's go find $100 million and get Dan Lanning here. I would love to see that happen. I'm not sure I believe that's going to happen. And I don't know that there's really a bidding war that would happen that would get Dan Lanning away from Oregon. He already passed on Alabama last year. Now, maybe he didn't want to follow Nick Saban, and maybe there are other criteria there in Tuscaloosa that aren't as appealing as Baton Rouge. I don't know. I don't know Dan Lanning a lick. I'm just looking at resume, criteria, all the stuff I'm looking for. Dan Lanning would be my guy. But if not, then I think you need to look at getting more creative in the way you hire and the way you structure your next coach's contract if you're trying to avoid the $100 million, the $50 million buyout on a $100 million contract that will be an albatross around your neck for the next 6 years. Let me know your thoughts. You can email us, tweet us, text us, 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Brought to you by Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com, ShawBillsTire.com. Hey, end of this week is the end of the month, and that's when that Michelin deal expires I've been telling you about. You could save nearly $300, $278 off a set of 4 new Michelin tires right now. Stacking rebates, plus when you use your Shaw Bills credit card, free installation. That's $118 value. It's ShawBillsTire.com. You want to learn more about all the specials they got? Do it right now. ShawBillsTire.com. If you need to buy tires, you want the best tires at the cheapest price, you go to Shaw Bills. ShawBillsTire.com. ShawBillsTire.com. Shaw Bills, where we keep you rolling. All right, y'all, it's after further review. When I got a quick break, I do want to get to, in about 30 minutes at the top of hour number 3, the Joe Sloan offensive coordinator piece of today in this whole firing situation. So we're going to do that. I also will do this when we come back. I want to talk about Scott Woodward. I'm going to need a little bit of a little runway to talk about all this, because I think Scott Woodward's future is certainly in question, and my opinion may very much differ from a lot of yours. And we'll have that conversation next on AFR.
After further review.
We're brought to you by the Watermark and the Renaissance. Watermark, downtown, Renaissance, Southtown, right there on Bluebonnet. Hey, look, if you're planning on hosting an event here in the remainder of 2025, Christmas season is almost here. You're going to have that Christmas party, that company Christmas party. They're booking over at Renaissance Baton Rouge and at Watermark Baton Rouge. Watermark downtown, Renaissance Southtown. Both are amazing for any size gathering you may have. If it's a wedding reception, if it's a company party, if it's a board meeting, if it's a fundraiser, an awards banquet, whatever type of meeting you may have, they can manipulate their space. Renaissance Baton Rouge has 13,000 square feet of meeting space. It's incredible. They can design it, arrange it however you need to fit your event. So contact them today. I'm my friend Allison Crumps, the event coordinator at both, at Watermark Downtown and Renaissance Southtown. It's Renaissance Baton Rouge.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and we do shutters too.
There's no doubt Lane Kiffin will be at the top of the list, and I know that sounds familiar. He's at the top of the Florida list and probably anybody else's list, but that's who he is, Greeny. He's a charismatic coach. He's colorful, and he's also an offensive genius, as we saw Saturday in Norman when Ole Miss beat Oklahoma in a mild upset. So will Kiffin leave is the question. His team has just about already stamped a playoff bid. That will be the question as we get closer to the end of the season.
It's Paul Feinbaum talking about Lane Kiffin. Would he leave Ole Miss? I wanted to talk about Scott Woodward, but I'm not going to have enough time. So this is what I'm going to do. I'll follow up because I got a lot of questions coming in on Twitter and the text line. So I'll answer some of these follow-ups about Kiffin and who's next. And then after the top of the hour, I'll get into the Scott Woodward piece and also Joe Sloan being let go and what it means for the offense the remainder of the season, all that sort of stuff. Lane Kiffin was on Pat McAfee earlier today, and he had his media availability today. So Kiffin has spoken a good bit. Kiffin, in no uncertain terms on McAfee today, described the fact that money isn't going to be the thing that moves him in a decision here.
I've never made a decision based off of money, nor will I. For a lot of people, they're just like, well, money and it does this and does that. I've seen too many examples in life where money does not buy happiness. So I am never going to make a decision off of money, nor do I care about it. Jimmy Sexton gets really mad when I say that.
He's got enough.
We got to get this. We got to get this. And I'm like, Jimmy, I don't care. And he goes, I do.
Lane Kiffin is in line where his contract is set to escalate to $9 million. He's in line to get north of 10, 11, 12. We'll see what it may be if Ole Miss decides to make him the richest coach in the country, whatever they want to do. But I believe him. I do. Why would we not believe Lane Kiffin? Has there ever been a more transparent coach? I believe him when he says he's not interested in money, meaning that's not going to be the sole driver. I think for Lane Kiffin, what is the driver is where he can win a championship. And I think 4 years ago, LSU or Florida would have been a better option than Ole Miss. I think that is an unequivocally factual statement. And Lane Kiffin did not get an interview from LSU or Ole Miss 4 years ago. And I know he was pissed that he was not considered. But Lane Kiffin has also, in the time since, subsequently spoken pretty openly about how happy he is at Ole Miss. He has said the words, I needed Ole Miss more than they needed me. He seems very happy there, content, but I also believe he wants to win a championship. And what this year is probably proving to him is a feeling that he can do it at Ole Miss. You know, Indiana's the number 2 team in the country. Vanderbilt, Ole Miss, Georgia Tech are all in the top 10. Is it possible to win a championship at Ole Miss in a different era? Absolutely not. Zero shot. In this era, if you have commitment and buy-in, yes, you can do it anywhere. And that makes me think he may not leave. Kiffin had a press conference today, Monday, and was asked about speculation surrounding the LSU job. This is what he said.
I mean, very surprising. I mean, it's the college world we're living in now. You know, we really, if you think about it, we talk about the players now are like NFL players, you know, how they're paid. And now I feel like the college coaches now are more like the NFL coaches where the firings happen quicker. NFL coaches see all the time, they get 1-2 years, you know, and you'd be like, well, in college that doesn't happen, you know, because it's harder to build a roster and they give you more time. And it's obviously not the case now. I think it's a product of things that happen. I think that Elko doing such a great job at A&M, I think puts in people's heads like, hey, these buyouts are ridiculous to pay. But I'm sure in A&M right now sitting there going, okay, well, yeah, that was ridiculous to pay, but we feel pretty good about that right now. So anytime something works, you know, other people go, well, let's go do that.
He's not wrong. Always have the conversation about money and salaries that you never concern yourself with it when you're winning. Do you think anyone at Alabama was like, man, Nick Saban's great, but paying that guy $12 million a year, really straining us? Of course not. Like, not only did he win, but he remade the entire university and city at Alabama and in Tuscaloosa because of the financial boon that he brought, because of the success the football program had over a decade and a half. Nobody cares. They would have spent 10 times that to keep Nick Saban. It only becomes a problem or a question when you're not winning. Now, some of the other questions that people have asked here, as I'm kind of running through the text line, like Donald asked about Joe Brady, who we talked about. You know, rumors Joe Brady to the Bengals. You need to lock him down before the NFL season's over. The question, the real issue. And by the way, I have no idea about Joe Brady if he would ever leave the NFL, if he wants to be in the NFL. The thing about Joe when he was here was always that he didn't love the recruiting piece and that he wanted to be in the NFL. Well, that's changed dramatically since he was here in 2019. Recruiting isn't really done the manner in which it was before. So I think that dynamic has changed. The timeline is maybe the more interesting component of that because Joe Brady's with the Buffalo Bills. The Bills are going to make the playoffs. They may make a deep run in the playoffs, which means they may be playing to the end of January or possibly the beginning of February if they make it to the Super Bowl. Well, guess what? If you're in the NFL on a playoff run, you're going to miss the December signing period, the January transfer portal window, and with no spring portal window now, your roster's set before you're here. So is it even feasible to attract someone from the NFL? That feels very, very difficult to see that happen from the NFL to college. Now, we've seen instances where assistants who have been in the pros have left to join college. Look, this happened in baseball. Wes Johnson was the pitching coach for the Minnesota Twins on a contending team and left in the middle of the season to take the job at LSU. So you could see that, but it's hard to imagine someone like Joe Brady, when the Bills are on a playoff run, leaving Buffalo in the middle of the season to come take the LSU job. How does that work? How is it structured? How does the timeline work? I don't have those answers today. But those are the real challenges you'd face if that's the angle that you were trying to pursue to hire a new coach. All right, it's after further review. We're brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center. 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEye.com, WilliamsonEye.com for the Williamson Eye Center. Dr. Blake Williamson does amazing work. Fixed me up 7 years ago. Could not be more thrilled. Wake up every day and I see. Don't need contacts, don't need glasses. If that's you and every day you're reaching for your contacts or glasses on that end table when you wake up in the morning, you're shoving contacts in your eye, don't do it anymore. Having trouble, you're fumbling for your readers because you can't read a menu or paper in front of you or a computer screen or your phone, Dr. Blake Williamson can fix that forever. No matter your age or refractive issue, they have a refractive solution for you to let you ditch the contacts and glasses forever and see 2020. It's the Williamson Eye Center. 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEye.com. Okay, it's after further review. We'll come back, wrap up hour number 2. And when we come back from to kick off hour 3, I'll get into the Scott Woodward piece of it. I want to talk about Joe Sloan being fired. A ton to do here as we're a one-topic day reacting to Brian Kelly being fired at LSU. Don't you move, it's AFR.
After further review.
If you need to sell your home, you want to sell it fast for the most amount of money, you need Darren James. Remember, Darren James has his guaranteed sale program. Hear me out. You hire Darren James. He's going to sit down with you, and you're going to agree to a price and a deadline. If Darren doesn't sell your home at that price by that deadline, he will have your home bought with cash, or he will sell it absolutely free. There's no catch. Call Darren James today. 335-7666, 335-7666, 335-7666, or agent225.com. That's agent225.com. Remember, they get the home value tool on the homepage I've told you about before. Go to the website, punch in your address. Using local market data in seconds, it'll tell you how much your home is worth. Agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
After further review, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding, and we do shutters too.
All right, wrapping up hour number 2. Monday shows are brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Windows, door, siding. Go, yeah, do shutters as well. Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Muso, Tigers in the Pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
All right, Jets and Bengals, couple of really cool moments here for former LSU Tigers. We'll start with Jamar Chase, 12 receptions, 91 yards on the day, 19 targets. With those 12 catches, Jamar Chase has now tied the NFL record for the most catches over a 3-game span. That is 38 catches. That ties the record held with Michael Thomas. As a matter of fact, we'll see what he can do for an encore. The Bengals did lose that football game, however, to the Jets, getting New York their first win. It was Mason Taylor on the receiving end of the game-winning touchdown to defeat Cincinnati. 5 receptions, 34 yards, and that score for Taylor. Pretty cool. And with both those guys making an impact there. Kayshon Boutte, another really solid day. 3 receptions, 75 yards, and a touchdown, a long of 39. Second leading receiver on the day for the New England Patriots. They blasted the Cleveland Browns. And then Liam Cohen, head coach of the Jaguars, met with the media on Monday. Jags are coming off their bye. He was asked about the potential for a trade involving Brian Thomas Jr. Said, quote, "We have no plans on moving Brian Thomas Jr. at all." 27 catches, 365 yards, and a touchdown so far on the year for BTJ. And then lastly, Kevin Gausman got the start in game number 2 of the World Series over the weekend. 6 2/3, 3 earned runs, didn't walk anybody and punched out 6. He did, however, get tagged with the loss as Yoshi Yamamoto was just fantastic on the other side. That's Tigers in the Pros.
Presented by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. By the way, this Thursday, Rouse's on Burbank and Lee, Harold Perkins Jr. will be there from 6 to 7 p.m., a meet and greet courtesy of Dr. Pepper. He'll be signing autographs, taking pictures. So if you want to meet Harold Perkins, you could do so this Thursday again, at the Burbank and Lee Rouse's location from 6 until 7 p.m. So write it down. Remember it. Bring your kiddos by to meet Harold Perkins. It'd be really cool. So Rouses.com, Rouses.com. Rouses. This feels like home. Remember, you can always email us, tweet us, text us, 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400 if you want to get involved in the show. I know there's tons of people who are, this is one of those one-topic days where obviously there's going to be a heightened interest and awareness. So always encourage you to jump aboard with us. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you. Please smash that like button. If you're new on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel. We appreciate you for being there as well. And to talk about Scott Woodward, his future here after the top of the hour, and try to explain a little bit about I'm hesitating for the words, the power struggle here with the governor and how everything is layered. I want to get into that a little bit because the reason that matters, by the way, is it's hard to talk about who the next coach is going to be without knowing who is going to be hiring the next coach. And if that's someone other than Scott Woodward, then who is that going to be? And that may all be interwoven with the hiring of a new university president, which, of course, will have a heavy influence and fingerprints from the governor. And there's a lot of stuff there, and I want to sort of unpack that a little bit. I just need some time to do it, so we'll do it when we come back after SportsCenter. So we're not going to break. Come back. Get you caught up on national headlines. Hour 3 is next.
AFR.
We're brought to you by Arco Power Systems. I've spent about a month now telling you every day about Arco Power Systems and what an incredibly impressive business this is. We talk a lot in this, in this area of the country here in the Gulf about standby generator power. A lot of times we talk about it for your home. Arco Power Systems deals with standby generator power for your business, for that commercial or industrial facility. Arco.com, A-R-C-C-O, Arco.com, Arco.com. When I'm talking about businesses, I mean any business. Grocery stores, gas stations, banks, hospitals, schools, industrial facilities, radio stations. If you need standby generator power or permanently installed standby generator power or rental generator power or to have your generator serviced, you want Arco Power Systems. And by the way, wherever you're listening or watching, Little Rock to Dallas, Houston, Mobile, it's Arco Power Systems.